Hello and welcome to my video, lesson 4.6 all the way to 4.7. They have to be done together sort of. PSA 2, which is basically when we have a quadratic in the form of ax²+bx+c, where the a value is not just simply 1. So we're going to start by using factor by grouping, which is 4.6, but that's going to be a very short process here because factor by grouping is included in PSA 2, and that's the only reason why we really do factor by grouping. So let's talk about this. I will say always check your GCF first, since it makes your life easier and may even make the question into a PSA 1 question. So always do GCF first. All right, so let's take a look at this first example here. It says factor by grouping. So what this, once you have it into this form here, then you're going to basically bracket these parts, okay? Put a plus in between, include all the symbols, like the positive, negative, everything, but put a plus in between. And then factor out a GCF between the bracketed portions, the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Okay, so on the left-hand side, you'll see we get 2x, and then on the inside we have x plus 1. Plus, and then in brackets here, we're going to take out a negative 3. Actually, we'll just take out the negative 3 like this. And then x plus 1. Okay, now that we have factored it like this is like two separate little GCFs. Now we can see that if these two parts are the same, we can write that down. Then we can notice that we have this part left, so we're going to write this part down, which means that this is our final answer. Okay, so this is where we can leave it. Okay, on the other hand, if you were to put all of this together, and you tried to factor this, you'd be stuck, right? With what you know so far with PSA 1, you can't factor it because this is a 2, right? So you're kind of stuck. If you want to just double check that this is correct, you could also expand this back out, right? Just to see if that's true. Plus 2x minus 3, and then put that back together, and you'll see again that this and this are the same, so therefore we've done it correctly. Okay, so if you're ever unsure, just expand. Alright, let's keep going down. We're going to do a couple example questions here. There's 3 different ones we're going to try. And then you guys will have some example questions that you're going to try afterwards. All right, so it says factor fully. So make sure that you are trying to factor this fully. This is called PSA 2 for a reason. So we're going to write PSA. Now, the trick with PSA 2 is that you're going to multiply this and this. So for the product, it's already going to be 2 times 3 is 6. So we need 2 numbers that multiply to get 6. Okay, and the sum is 5. So we need 2 numbers that add to get 5. So in this case, it's actually nice and easy. It's 2 and 3, 2 and 3. Now, most of the time, you'd be like, oh, I'm just going to go plus 2, plus 3, but that is not what we're doing here. Be careful, don't do that. Okay, what we're doing here is we're going to rewrite out, I'm going to do the black part here first, rewrite out what we have above, but we're adding, instead of the plus 5, instead of that middle term, you're going to write plus 2x plus 3x. And actually this is going to look very similar to my question above, which is all right. Okay, so now that we have that, now we can factor by grouping. Okay, if there's a plus there, you don't really have to worry about it as much. The negative, like in the last question, is where it matters. Okay, now we can take out a 2x, and we can have x plus 1, and we can take out a 3, and it's an x plus 1. And finally, our finished answer will have x plus 1 and 2x plus 3. Okay, and the way you know you did it right is if these two parts inside are the same as each other. All right, let's try another one. PSA. So 20 times negative 6 gives us negative 120. Oh boy, this is going to be more complicated. But our sum is 7. Can we simplify with GCF? No, we can't. Yeah, so our sum is 7, which means two numbers need to add to get 7. So they're going to be pretty close together. So I'm just thinking about it, and maybe 12. So here, yeah, this is probably going to work. So 12 and 10. No, not quite. What else? No, because we need to get it to equal 7. Here, let's do 120 divided by 24. What does that give us? 5? Nope, that's too much. 120 divided by basically we have to come up with all the different numbers that multiply to get 120. And when it's a big number like this, it makes it more complicated, but 2 and 60, that's definitely not right. 3 and 40, that's definitely not right. 4 and some other big number, that's definitely not right. 5 and nope, not 20, it'll be 24. Okay, 6 and what? Ooh, this is likely to be correct. 6 and 20, nope. 7 doesn't work though, I think. Nope. 120 divided by 8. Does that one work? 15. Oh, there you go. 8 and 15. So you can kind of see how, even I will struggle with some of these questions if the numbers are big. The other continuing options could have been, 10 and 12. And actually, that would be all of the possibilities. So the only one that works is this one. So lots of work to get that. Please watch my regular PSA video if this was too fast for you. Okay, anyways, took a while to get there, but we did, and we ended up with 20x squared plus 8x plus 15x minus 6. Okay, now that we have that, we can bracket out the two halves, okay, and then we can take out a 4x here with a 5x plus 2 inside here, plus we can take out a 3 here, 5x minus 2? Why do I have a minus? Oh, because I'm supposed to have a negative up top here. It should be minus 8. There you go. Which means that this will be a negative 2. There you go. Because 15 minus 8 is 7, not adding. So there you go. Okay, so now we have this. Then now that we have the same See, I noticed I did something wrong because they weren't the same, right? That's the key. So anyways, now that we have them the same, we write it down, and then we write down the leftover parts, which is 4x plus 3, and now we are done. So that is our final answer. All right, let's continue on and try one of these next examples. Where's my mouse? There you go. Okay, so actually let's go a little bit higher so you can see it compared to the last one. So PSA, let's hope that the numbers aren't too big again. They look big. Yeah, they're gonna be big numbers, but that's okay. Oh, you know what? No, it's easier than that because this has a GCF. Here's the thing. If you see a GCF, make sure you take it out. So we can take out, let's use black to do this. So 5y, we can take it out of each of the different terms. So we are left with 12x² minus 20xy plus 3, oh, no y here, sorry, plus 3, just like that. Okay, now we have PSA. The product is 12 times 3, which is 36. So that means we need to have two numbers that multiply to get 36, and the sum is negative 20, so we need two numbers that add to get negative 20. So if you need to, we go through the same process as the last one, where you just come up with as many options as possible of numbers that can multiply to get the 36. That is all the possible numbers. Now remember, if the sum is, or if the product is positive, that means we must add these numbers. So which of these numbers add to get 20? Well, these ones add to get 20, so 2 and 18. 2 and 18. Notice that they add to get a negative 20, so they both have to be negatives. Okay, now we can rewrite out this big equation as 12x² minus 2x minus 18x plus 15, just like that. Okay, now we can break this up into two portions. Just make sure that if there's a negative there, you have to add a positive in between and keep the negative with the 18. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to have, just again, keep in mind all these extra brackets. You have to be very careful here. 2x will come out, and we'll have 6x minus 1. Okay, and if this x has a negative, you want to get rid of it. So we're going to take out a negative 3, which means we're going to have 6x minus 1, which is good because now we have the same parts in brackets for both. So 5y bracket 6x minus, oh, here this is the last step. I'm going to do it in purple so it's staying the same. 5y bracket 6x minus 1, and then bracket 2x minus 3, and actually I'm going to just put an extra space there so we have a little bit more room to work with, but this is our final answer. Yeah, so that is PSA 2 in a nutshell. It's pretty difficult, I understand, but here's your chance to practice it. So I recommend you pause the video right now, try these 3 examples, and see if you get the same answer that I do. Okay, so some of these are probably going to be pretty challenging, especially the second one looks like it's going to be difficult. But let's take a look at the first one to start. PSA. So the product is going to be 4 times 6, which is 24. The sum is going to be negative 11. So we have to come up with two numbers that multiply to get 24 and add to get 11. Okay, so we're going to look at 24 and come up with all the different possibilities. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6 are all the possibilities. So now that we've done that, and since it's positive, like it's a positive 24 here, that means that we're going to be adding. So which of these here, if you add them, gives you 11? Well, only one of them, if you add them, gives you 11. So it's going to be 3 and 8, 3 and 8. Now notice that our sum is negative, so they both have to be negative. If they're both negative, they still multiply to get a positive, so that still works for the 24. Okay, so now that we've done that, we need to break up the expression, the middle term, into negative 3x and negative 8x plus 6. Now we're going to take the first part and the second part, and we're going to put a plus in between them, which allows us to take out a x in the first part, so not very much, 4x minus 3. But in the second part, we can take out a negative 2, so we get 4x minus 3. Notice that both parts in brackets are the same, so that means we've done it correctly, which means we put it out front. We do x minus 2 afterwards, the part that's left over. Okay, let's continue with the next one. PSA. Unfortunately, there's no greatest common factor here, which means we're going to have this massive 18 times 20 as our number here. So this is going to be 36 times 10, so 360. What a pain. But our sum is just going to be negative 9, which means we're going to look for numbers that are close together, okay, because they have to be close enough together to get 9. Most of the values that multiply will be, closer to the 336. Like, it's going to have bigger values. So one way you can check this is if you use your calculator to get the square root of 336. Or 360, sorry, which is basically 19, which means that the number answer has to be less than 19, or one of the two different numbers will be less than 19, okay? And it's probably a number that's closer to 19, I would guess. So, I don't know, can we go 360 divided by 18? Does that give us an answer? It does. Okay, so I'm going to start on the other side, if you know what I mean. So in all of these questions previously, we always started with 1 and 360, but I'm going to suggest you start on the other side normally, the halfway point. So I did, what did we get? 20 and 18, so 18 and 20. Okay, now I'm going to try the next number, 316 divided by 17. Does not work. 360 divided by 16 doesn't work. 360 divided by 15 does work. Okay, so 15 and 24. 15 and 24. So this, if you subtract, and we know that it's going to be subtraction because of this, if you subtract, this is going to give you 2, but this one is going to give you 9. Hey, look at that. We've gotten our answer. So this is going to be 15 and 24. Keeping in mind that the bigger number is negative because it has to give the negative 9. All right. I always recommend you kind of start at the bottom and then work your way up here later. Okay? But always make sure that you do check this if you run out. A lot of people just forget the easiest one up here. Okay, so let's continue. We're going to get 18x squared plus 15x minus 24 x minus 20. Now we're going to take out, we're going to put it in brackets here. Make sure you put a plus in between. Now we're going to take out of the brackets of the first one, we're going to take out a 3x. We're going to get 6x plus 5. For the second part, we can take out a minus 4, a negative 4, which will give us 6x plus 5, which is good because those are both the same. Now that we have the same parts in both, now we can write that out and then write out the other part, and we get an answer. Whew, boy. Okay, one last question, and then we're done. One last question. PSA 2 is challenging. Okay, it takes time. So, actually, this one here, we're going to want to take out a GCF first. My first hint is that we have a negative here. My second hint is that it's got a higher than 2 degree. And then my third hint is, checking all the numbers, making sure if I can divide those out. So I can take out a negative and an x, okay, but I could also take out a 7, okay, and that might be hard to figure out, but this is indeed a 12x² plus 7x minus 10. Okay, so that is our first step, PSA. So now we're going to do the product step, which means 12 times, oh beautiful, it's going to be ugly again. It's going to be 12 times 10, so negative 120, which means we need to look for two numbers that multiply to get negative 120, and a sum of 7. Actually, this isn't too bad because we did an example earlier like this. So 120 was a variety of different things. Okay, so 120, let's do it the other way. Square root of 120 is going to give us an answer that's less than 11. So the answer needs to be less than 11. And also because this is subtraction, that means we're going to have subtraction over here. Okay, so can we go 120 divided by 10? Yes, we can. We get 12. So 10 and 12, but if we subtract, we get 2. So that's no good. Let's try it again with 9. We can't. 8. We get 15. And if you subtract them, we get 7, which means that this is the result. So 8 and 15. 8 and 15. Now one of the two is going to be negative. The smaller value is negative. The bigger value is positive because it has to give a sum of a positive value. Okay, writing down the next step here, we're going to get 12x² minus 8x plus 15x minus 10. Then we're going to use the green brackets to show where we're going to factor by grouping. So we're going to get 4x out with 3x minus 2 inside, plus 5 out, which means we're going to get 3x minus 2 on the inside. Okay, and now we can finally write our final answer, which is going to be 3x minus 2 and 4x plus 5. All right, so I hope this video helped you better understand PSA 2 and how to factor when you have a much more complicated question. I hope this video helped, and good luck.